let's talk circular saws today. So what we have here, we have two different kinds of circular saws. These are 7 1/4. That is the blade size. This right here is a corded circular saw. This right here is a battery operated circular saw. They both take a 7 1/4 inch blade. Now the circular saw is a very versatile saw. It can cross cut, it can rip cut, it can bevel cut. It's a great DIY saw for a homeowner to have. Once you get used to it and used to using it, you can pretty much do anything with it. So we have a couple of tools that will help make it a little bit easier to use. Definitely clamps, definitely help clamping your material down. They're also good to clamp down a level across your material so that you can do a rip cut. A builder's triangle is great for marking your material for cross-cutting, and we'll show you a little trick in a little bit on how to make a straight cross-cut using the triangle. A chalk line is always good to make marks on sheet goods and plywoods that you can follow a line and cut. And obviously a pencil, and never forget your safety glasses. So a few things about a circular saw. First of all, when you go to change the blade, you always want to make sure that the rotation is going in the proper direction, and your teeth are always going to be facing up. So when you change out your blade, the teeth always face up. Now there's a couple gadgets on this circular saw that will set the depth of the blade, the angle of the base for a bevel cut. I'm going to show you those right now. So we have this lever in the back. This is going to set your blade depth, and it's going to move the table up and down. So when you set your blade depth, you're going to want to set it just past your material, about 1/8 to 1/4 inch beyond your material. And the reason you do that is for safety and less stress on the saw. You get a better cut. Now, if you're not doing a straight cut, straight rip cut, straight cross cut, and you're doing a bevel cut, there's a scale here, and it allows you to change the tip of this base to a 22.5, a 30, all the way to a 45, and lock your table, so then you can make bevel cuts. That is really handy, and as you get more involved in the carpentry, you'll find that you'll be using that more and more. Every circular saw has a retractable blade guard. This retracts as you're cutting it, keeps your hands safe, it keeps everything safe. You always want to let it do its job. You want to make sure that it retracts down before you put the saw down so it doesn't jump. The only time you would ever really raise that up is if you're doing some kind of plunge cut, and then you want to be very careful as well. So it's always safety first with any kind of saw or tool you're using. So that's just a few quick tips on that stuff. So always wear your safety goggles. I'm going to show you right now how to make a cross cut on just any kind of right now we're going to use a 2x4, but pretty much anything. So the first thing you're going to do is measure out your material, and you're going to mark it with a builder's square, triangle, and you're just going to mark it. You get a nice straight line. Now you can take that circular saw and you can follow that line. You're just going to line it up with the blade right here and follow that line right across. Or if you're a little less experienced and you're just getting started, you're going to take that builder's triangle and you're going to put it on the edge of your material. And what you're going to do is put the edge of the saw next to it, and you're going to line your blade up with the line that you just marked. Now you're going to start the saw and you're going to ride the fence against this square. That is a little tip how you get a straight cross cut on some material. Now, always allow what you're cutting to fall, otherwise your saw will bind up on you and kick back. That is a very important safety tip. So, let's show you a little bit what else this saw can do. That just made a cross cut, so if you were, building a deck or something, or building a bench and you were cutting 2x4s, that's a great way to make cross cuts, or pretty much anything you wanted to cross cut, you can do that way. So you can also rip plywood, and what you would do is you would measure out your plywood. Some of you may use a chalk line to make a mark across your plywood, just like that, and you would just take the saw and you would follow that line. A lot of people do that. Another way to do this is to line up a level at your cut mark and ride your guard of your blade against it after you have clamped this level down. Now I'm going to show you what is called a finger rip, where we would just measure out on our piece. If we needed to take a little bit off of this, say we wanted to take an inch off of this, we would measure out an inch, and we know to start there, an inch back. And what we do is we can line up our blade and we can ride our finger right against the material like so. And we can run this all the way down. And we can get a perfect inch cut off of there, or whatever it may be, just by riding our fingers down. So that was done with the corded circular saw. Everything can also be done with this new battery operated circular saw. It's just as powerful, it's great, it's got great battery life, and it does pretty much everything that one does. So, you know, there's a lot of different things out there. Great saw for anybody to use. So if you have any questions, leave us a comment. We are your local home experts. If you need a renovation or you're looking to buy or sell, give us a call.